Hello.
Hi,
My darling Roseline. It's
my
a
darling baby.
big it's a big pleasure to have you here today. And today we are going to be talking about parenting, motherhood, and our careers. I know for a fact that there are a number of people out there who will like to learn how to balance motherhood, parenting with their careers. I saw an article recently which says that parenting is a full time job and we should be paid for it. But you know what? We don't get paid in cash or kind. We get paid. We don't get paid in cash or benefits. We get paid in hugs and kisses and loves, and that's fulfilling enough. I say it all the time. That's fulfilling enough. I'm happy to have you here. But before I shoot with my gist, because like I told you, this is a gist session and I want people to see what is possible, you know, I would like you to briefly introduce yourself, let people out there know who they're speaking with. And I want you to double click on areas where we're touching today, which is on parenting, motherhood, and career. Shoot.
Okay, thank you, baby. I'm most honored to be part of this program today. Um, like you said, it's important for us to kind of always share our experiences in
Mm-hmm.
order to help the younger ones to learn. In my own holy book, at some point, is written that the older women should teach the younger ones.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
and I think at this point, it's good that we use our experience to help the younger ones as well, especially those who are hoping to build a successful career while also building successful homes. Okay, so I'm Rosling, like you already mentioned, and I'm
And we
a
call you
husband,
Rosie Mama.
Rosie Mama. Well, it's like I was almost, I think I was the oldest in that class with one more person.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I actually major in brand marketing, and I've been working for over 17 years now. Most of it has been just my very first year of working was in a very small firm, a diagnostic firm, before I joined my first organization as a graduate trainee where we met.
Yeah.
And
I think we
it
need to give a bit of backstory to that. We need
definitely,
to give a bit of backstory. So I met Rosaline. It was 2007, right? Was it
yes,
2007?
yes,
2007,
2007.
yes. And at that time, I was telling my husband that you were the first person that went in for the interview. Can you recollect that?
Oh my
And I was there sitting outside and I was like, "Ha,
God.
they are gonna skin me today. I better get this job." And then you came out, looking all calm. I said, "See, if she can do it and come out looking this calm, I can do it."
Oh my goodness. I didn't even know you recognized me from the interview days.
Oh, dear, I do. I was looking for hope to hang on to, and you
Wow.
were that hope. I wasn't even sure whether you yourself were, you know, fully in your element, but I just knew that I needed something to hold on to. And you came out
Wow.
looking unfazed. I said, yeah, if she
Wow.
can do it, I can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please go ahead, my dear Ruslim.
Actually. So, 17 years in my career now, majorly in different multinationals, to the glory of God. And, you know, I started my career with two children already.
Wow.
So I married quite early. I was just 22 when I married. So I married quite
Hmm.
early. And I was in my final year in school.
Mhm.
Um, so I already had two children before I started my career in school. But um, I think at some point I'm going to kind of give an elaborate story about on how it really started. To
Yeah.
pause on that part of the story.
Yeah.
Today, fast forward to today, I have four
Mhm.
children, two adults. My daughter just became an adult in February.
Oh.
So
Oh.
my daughter are adults. I have a 20-year-old and an 18-year-old, and
Oh.
the others are,
Congratulations.
thank you, and the others are 14 and 10 respectively. So
Mhm.
it's it's a handful. It's been a handful, and to also top it off that I've always, if you can remember, I've always not stayed lived with my husband. So it's
Mhm.
still the same story, really, till today.
Mhm.
So um, basically been uh, myself with these children, with the career, trying
Mhm.
to manage everything,
Mhm.
at the same time. But then it has been very successful. I've managed very successful brands, and in my latest organization, I've been able to get over 15 awards thereabout for the brands, and about three or four for myself. You know, and it's been quite fulfilling, I must say. People think I have some kind of superpowers somewhere, and I ask myself, where are these powers actually coming from? But well, that's, well, I say in a nutshell now.
Yeah.
It's a long word, but it's in a nutshell.
I
This is
am telling you,
actually who I am.
you have given those listening a reason to hang on, to listen to this to the end. I
Yeah,
think what came out strongly for me, four kids, very beautiful career, and doing it all alone. Wow. Wow.
yeah.
At some point, you are going to tell me, teach me, train me on how you maintain this calmness. If there is a word that I would use to describe Roseline, it is calm.
Hmm.
Like, I have always known you to be very calm right from day one. Not just calm, calm and matured. Right from day one, I have always known Rosaline is, she takes it easy, she gets it done. No, running elter skelter like headless chicken like some of us. But she gets it done, you know. And this is quite interesting because I met a young lady some years back, and she was going to have a career break. She just had a son at that time, and she just felt, you know what, there is no way on earth that I can combine this with my already busy job. I need to take a break. And I think she spoke to our boss, a line manager, about it. And he said, talk to Debola. Talk to Debola first before you take a decision. And then she called me. I think before she called me, she checked my profile on LinkedIn. And then she called me and then she said, my boss said I should talk to you. I have a child. It's been difficult. He's still very young. How are you doing it? And after that conversation, I realized that she is not the only one in that space. There are a lot of people in that space. Young, just married, have a child, and then it becomes so overwhelming for them. Rosalind, has there been a time when you were growing your career and raising your children that you thought, I need a career break? I cannot do this. I would pause my career and then pick it up again when the kids are grown. Did that ever happen at any point?
Actually, he never did. He never did. Re- Regardless of, despite all the challenges, you know, it never did. So I think it's such thoughts, would only stem out of, um, will I say, the mindset of the objective of the person involved. Okay, and what I mean is, okay, so let me backdate my story a bit to growing
Yeah.
up. Okay, um, I am the last child of six children, and unfortunately for me, I lost my dad when I was 6 years old. So I practically also grew up without a father.
Oh dear.
And it was my mom doing the entire work, you know. And, watching her as the last child, I was always there with her. I was practically her handbag. So I could see how she would relate to my older siblings. I would see how she would also respond to me sometimes, when she try to struggle to make ends meet, to keep me in school and all that. And at some point, I had to kind of um, leave her, and I started staying with my oldest sibling who was married. Who, when she got married, along the line, then I was just in secondary school, in junior secondary school. So watching my mom handle those things and the way she kept at it,
Hmm.
I think maybe built in something in me, and she was my biggest cheerleader, really. You know, with along, with all those things along that line, she was my biggest cheerleader, because sometimes when things would happen and maybe I would go to school, come back and talk about some things, she would go
Hmm.
like, "Yes, now you too, you can do it. Those people doing it, do they have two heads?"
Oh,
She was
yeah.
always motivating me like that. So I would go and tell her one big story, how I'm going to work with Oyibo, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go. So say, yes, of course. Those people that are doing it, they don't have two heads. You too, you can do it,
Bless her.
you know.
Yeah.
So she kept doing that, and I saw that she was very resilient in the way she kept providing for us.
Mm.
Managing my father's assets and some other things that she was able to do, to raise the funds and take care of us. So I saw a resilient woman, who actually delivered what she wanted to at that point. Now, fast forward to when I had to go live with my oldest sibling in Mina, Niger State.
Hmm.
So I had to, stay with her, take care of the children. I was practically serving her, at that
Hmm.
time. So throughout my senior secondary, I stayed with them, and I was actually taking care and serving them. And her husband was also a very strong career person. So I also saw him like a figure, like
Hmm.
a mentor, something that I could
Yeah.
actually learn from. So I kept
Yeah.
picking. So it was at that point, even the course I studied, he was the main motivational factor, you know, for the course I studied in school, because I saw how he was enjoying himself. And I was like, what did he study? They told me. I said, that's what I'm going to study too, because in my mind, I'm going to enjoy like that. So enjoy. So also seeing my sister and the way she kind of managed um, her own home and all that. And then I moved to school from there. Now, with all these things in mind, I kind of saw myself getting married very early. Now, I'm not going to argue for and against early marriage,
Hmm. Hmm.
because it has its pro and cons.
Yeah.
But maybe if I had the second life, maybe I would think twice. you know. So, without really having that career thing in my head, and,
Hmm.
all that, and growing up in the East, the whole story is about husband marry, husband, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. So,
Yeah.
all those kind of
Pressure.
things all those kind of things
Yeah.
affected me, and then I just went into it without really having,
Yeah.
that kind of career mindset and all.
Yeah.
Now, I have gone into it. I have two children, and then suddenly, God just raised people who were like, you had a 2-1 in economy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what
Mm-hmm.
you're doing with yourself. Why would you just lock yourself up like this and keep your yourself, put yourself on a standstill because you are
Yeah.
married? So
Yeah.
those things now kind of started helping me, and I started thinking about it. So it was at that point I I decided that okay, if I get a good job, then I will try to. But before then, I went to kind of I tried to look at the gaps that I had. Um, the major one for me then was when was computer literacy. So because at that time was when the whole thing just started, and a
The
lot
old
of people
boss.
were very
Yeah.
completely computer literate. I did not know Jack. I was like, if I really want to, start building something now, then I have to know this computer thing. I was like 8 months pregnant though, when I
Wow.
decided to go and learn this computer thing. I will enter the cyber cafe like this, and people will be looking at me like, what's this pregnant woman coming to do here? I will sit down. Like I already booked. I told them they what they were supposed to teach me like in 6 months. I told them to crash it for me like 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
So I would come every day. I would sit without my tummy like this. I was learning. I was learning. Shortly after was when the first opportunity for the graduate training thing where we met came up. And
Yeah.
God so kind. You know all the exams we took. And you remember
Of
the
course.
particular one that was a computer-based this thing. It was just
Of
computer
course.
questions.
Of course.
God, I
Of
said if I
course.
did not go for that training, I wouldn't have gotten that job.
Yeah.
So by the time I just finished and that opportunity came and I was able to scale through, I was like, God, thank you. So why
Yeah.
I brought up this story is that I went into career with the mindset
Mm-hmm.
that now I really want to build something for myself. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't let pregnancy pull me back.
Mm-hmm.
That was why I had to carry that 8 months full blown pregnancy to go and be learning computer. you know,
Full blown.
to go and be learning computer. And then got so kind. Afterwards, I put to bed. I started one small job, and then this opportunity came, and I got the job. Then I had to relocate from the east to Lagos because of that job. So for me, I already knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
go into this career, and it was already a major, what will I call it, shift, kind of in my
Mm-hmm.
in my in my day to day, because normally I would just be home and all that, but because I decided to go into the career thing, I prepared my mind, and then
Yeah.
I decided to take the inconveniences. When I relocated to Lagos here, the place where I stayed, I had to spot with my cousins. I was actually sleeping in that parlor. All that period you were seeing me in training school, I was sleeping in
Mm-hmm.
someone's parlor because I
Wow.
just wanted to, build myself. My children were still in the East. I was here. So it was for me, I was all out for it. So until I was able to start, you know, I to get a place, and then I brought my children over and started building my family gradually, gradually, gradually to what
Yeah.
it is today.
Yeah.
So at no point, at no point did I think of taking a break, because the
A career
question is
break. Yeah.
taking a career break. But
Did
the
you even
question
think
is
about?
the question is, if you take that break, how sure are you that when you're ready, you're going to see a job?
True.
How sure are you that you're going to see a stable job?
I am thinking, as you were talking, that this wouldn't have been a walk in the park for you. Coming to Lagos, then settling, bringing in your kids over, doing it all by yourself. you know, Even I with support sometimes I am still going crazy. So, how were you able to manage these challenges of growing your career? Because I know you show up every day and you
Mhm.
show up correct. And then you have two young kids. What structures or what systems did you put in place or did you leverage to be able to every day show up and still maintain that sanity?
Okay. So for For me, the place of planning, has always been an important one. Some people call me an overthinker. I think I'm just kind of a very proactive person.
Mm-hmm.
So, all true, when you're faced with the reality of, this is you, these are the children, you're in a place where you just moved in and you have to kind of make sure that things are running and you want to make a success of your career and you want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that these children also don't get into the wrong hands,
True.
so I had to do a lot of thinking and planning. So for me, the first basically is the support of maybe other family, you know. Like I had my husband's niece who moved with the children when I brought them from the east. So she just chose to stay with me, and she really played a very strong role. She was also going to school, but she was like an older sibling for them. And at least I had an older sibling with them who was kind of taking care of them. But then I made sure that the choice of school, you know, and the choice of hospital, those two places are very important to me, are very close to the house. So for school, I'm not this overly I'm not very choosy in terms of the kind of school that children attend, especially in primary school. Like maybe looking for the ones that are really making waves, looking for the ones that are very
Mm-hmm.
expensive, the ones that people are talking about. Mm-mm. Once I check the school and I believe you to give the children the basic that they need, the basic things that they need to know, and it's a good school, and I can see that they are working hard, they are improving. I'm good with it. So I picked a school that was just a walking distance. In fact, they don't have to cross any road, just the next
Wow.
street to
Mm-hmm.
the house. So, and my objective, doing that was basically so that if I'm able to take them to school in the morning, in the afternoon they can come home comfortably,
Yeah.
without any problem. And the choice of the hospital also being close to the house is in case there's an emergency, I can quickly call somebody, please help me take them to this hospital, and there's, at least I can always use phone to follow up the
Yeah.
rest.
Yeah.
So, but this one actually is like the second phase of my life. The first phase,
Mm-hmm.
when I came into Lagos, I was living at Ikpaja.
Mm-hmm.
So, from Ikpaja to Ilupeju at that time, I would get up in the morning, leave the house like 5:30 when these children were still sleeping,
Mm.
and I would get home around 9 p.m. when
Mm.
most times they had also slept off. So
Mm.
I was left with just seeing my children on weekends. It
Mm.
didn't go down well with me because one of the weekends I was looking at my children, they were looking like strangers to me. And
Oh
that was when I
dear.
told myself, like, no, this one cannot continue like this. And then I started looking for a house closer to uh, within Ajawa Estate, a place closer to the office. So I think that was one major thing I put in place to help me because I didn't want to lose sight of my children. I didn't want to affect my career as well that I was trying to build. So coming to spending a bit more money to live in a more central place, helped me. So the choice of location as well of where you live,
Gotcha.
you know, actually
Mm-hmm.
also helped me. Um, so now living in a more central place and having schools and hospitals that were around the house helped me a whole lot. Now, aside that, there's also this life of you have to buy food stuff and cook in the house, won't you? You have to do shopping. You have to
It's
do
part of
shopping
it. It comes
over
with
the
the
weekend.
territory.
You have to shop
Yeah.
over the weekends as well, somehow to come home and cook and make sure there is food for these children
Yeah.
as well. So that one, I don't know how God did it for me, but I also have my sister who is also who is selling in the market. So it was easy for
Okay.
me to just send the list down. I say, please help me. And then
Yeah.
she buys the things, and I would look for a way to get them to the house. So when I now grew my career to the extent of at least now I have a driver. So now all I do is
Yeah.
send the list, and then my driver goes to the market to pick up the
Yeah.
items. So then the days I can do it myself, just because I want to do it, I
Yeah.
go and do it. But um, for a more sustainable plan, I use my family. Like I use her, and
Yeah.
then she helps me, and I put these things together. So the truth is that there is no perfect picture, okay, but one has to really try to understand what will work for you and
Mm-hmm.
what makes life a bit more tolerable and manageable and easy for you to
Yeah.
navigate.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it was just pockets of all these things, where I'm living, how close the hospital is. When you start stressing yourself about the kind of getting intimidated about the kind of schools people put their children, and then you also want
True.
to be meeting up with those kind of standards with the kind of challenges you're having at home, then you'll be
Yeah.
frustrated. And so,
Yeah.
make your choices in such a way that it won't,
Simple
you know,
choices.
exactly. So right now the children are, at least I have two adults, like I said. The first
Mm-hmm.
one is in Covenant University, so I don't have to follow him
Yeah.
now. He's in a good school now, and he's taking care of himself. The other
Yeah.
one is actually schooling in Ghana. So
Mm-hmm.
for me now, it's also video calls, just do the work, and you know, it's not that stressful anymore. The ones in secondary school, actually their school is like 5 minutes away, but they are in boarding
Mm-hmm.
school. So boarding school has always saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
Boarding school was another structure I put in place. So for me, sincerely speaking, some people don't like boarding school, but boarding school is a lifesaver for me. So why I actually chose boarding school for all of them, actually, all of them, they went to boarding school. And why I chose boarding school is that um, you know, like I said, I don't want to lose sight of these children. I want to know who they are with at every point in
Mm-hmm.
time. I want to know who they are
Mm-hmm.
following. I want to know who is marching back from school with them. I want to know, all those kind of
Mm-hmm.
things. So for secondary school, it's a lot more riskier to leave them because of the associations. You don't know the kind of
Gotcha.
people they meet on the way. I'll be at work from 8 to 5, 6, 7, and then by the time I'm getting home, it's 7 p.m. Is 8 p.m. and I don't know what they've been doing at home. They might not really focus on their books or assignments, and they are busy maybe watching TV and using their devices and all. So to avoid all that, it was safest for me to put them in the boarding school. So I put them in boarding school, but I make sure I go for whatever it is I need to go for. Visit them. Their visiting day, the visiting day is always very splendid. Like I cook everything I need to cook for them. I anything.
Yeah.
What do you want? And then, like I said, the small ones now, the two youngest ones, their school is actually 5, 10 minutes away from me. Yes, they are still in the boarding school, and reason is to cut off all these things and help,
Yeah.
so that I can help myself focus on my career and
Yeah.
making the money for them while they are in school.
Yeah.
Then, but I tell them I'm just a call away. So sometimes on
Yeah.
my way from work, I branch to the school. We
Yeah.
gist, we laugh. I ask them how are they doing, and then I leave them there and I drive home.
Yeah.
So those are all the
I
different things.
no, I think again we all have to choose what works for us.
Yeah, exactly.
What helps us to still stay present in their lives and also live our own lives. I put my son in a boarding school when he was in GSS 1. That's year one. Yeah, that's year one. Is it year one? No, that's
Yes.
year seven.
Oh, okay. With
That's
the
year
system
seven.
today. Hmm.
Yes, with the systems today, that's year seven. And I pulled him out when he was. I didn't think he finished the session with them, and I'll tell you why. Before then, I have always said, I went to a boarding school. I still believe my mental toughness, my resilience, my discipline is from going to a military boarding school. And I used to say that I want the same for my kids. I want them to be able to have that, you know, independence. I want them to be able to make decisions. I want them to be able to, give them that freedom to make decisions for themselves. I pulled him out because I didn't realize that the boarding school I went to is different from what we have now. And I kept asking myself, how then do I instill value into him? Because in this boarding school, you bring all these children together, people who have high values, high morals, with those that are struggling to build it up. How do I ensure that my son continues to gain the right values? And that takes me to my question for you. I know your kids are well raised. And hearing now that they went to a boarding school, how did you instill value in them before you put them into the school? Or what was or what is, at least for those that are still there, what is that, channel you use to still communicate, the basic values of life to them, to say, this is how it should be, this is what you do in this situation. This is because, again, we all want to raise wholesome children. And I know, I've always been proud of how you've been parenting your children, always. And I just would like to know, now that they don't live with you, how do you still manage to pass that message to them? One thing I keep saying is, I don't want to grow my career at the expense of parenting my children, at the expense of so many things, at the expense of my health, at the expense of my relationships, at the expense of my own personal development. I want to win always, and that's why I'm asking this question, so that for those that are listening to, they can learn how to still grow their career while instilling the right values within their children to ensure that, they grow to be a, a positive contribution to the society.
Hmm. Yeah, great question. Great question. Um, one of the days when I think when we did speech and prize giving day for my daughter, uh, one of the teachers quickly came to meet me at the car. I went to my car to get her some things, and she quickly came to meet me. I was like, "Ma, please, I like how your children behave. How did you
Mm.
do it? Can you teach me what to do?" As in, she was so
Mm.
serious. One of the teachers in school, she was so serious. I just started laughing. Like, I was like, okay, I really don't know what to tell you right now, but anyways, I would try. So I try to tell her a few things. So for me, with children, what I've learned in this journey is that if you don't start early, it becomes a serious problem. So um, I remember clearly that um, from their early years, you know, I try to kind of talk to them, and I don't talk too much, like I'm not a
Yeah,
talkative type. So
yeah.
it wasn't like I would wake them in the middle of the night and say, "You see this one, you see this one." No, I don't do all that. But I don't remember ever doing that till now. you know. So, but at least I would kind of talk to them, and maybe when we are having our devotion in the house, I would talk and explain things to them. And when I'm going to church, I would take them. I would always make sure they come with me. I would want them to see. Usually, I always want them to see. Children learn a lot about from what they see. So
Mhm.
they should always see and see the right things. You have to live by example. That's the truth.
Hmm.
To be able to influence those children well. If you're sending them to do something wrong and you're telling them something you think is right, the ideal thing, it won't work. Is that what you're doing that is not good that they will pick? Is it that one that you think you're telling them, you see this thing I'm doing, don't follow my footsteps? You're talking to
Yeah.
yourself. You're
Yeah.
talking to yourself. So it starts with me. It whole everything had to start with me. I was always very careful of the fact that I know that these children are watching me. So I had to kind of live out that example for them and then explain, these days, unlike when we were brought up, our parents did not owe us explaining anything to us.
Of
Just do it,
course.
you know. But today you
Don't
have
ask
to understand.
questions.
You don't ask
Just do
questions, just do it.
it.
But today you have to, understand that you have to explain to these children. So get them to understand why the reason. You don't even need to, don't wait for them to ask you. You see, you have to do this thing because XYZ. And then when you're saying it, mm, it kind of registers. So, for instance, quick tempered, and I realized that my son picked it, picked that trait. And one of the days he displayed it. Um, he had something with his sister, and he displayed it, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, this cannot be happening." You know, I just went to him. I said, "Please see, you cannot allow anger, please, to take you over because if you kill somebody, you go to jail. The person is in jail for life, and that's the end. There's nothing you'll be able to do. That'll be the end of the person's life." Sincerely speaking, since that day, I've not seen him exhibiting that trait again.
Mm.
So that worked for me. Another example is my daughter when she was in school, in boarding school. So somehow along the line, when she was about writing work, this girl I'm talking about is, what do they call them? This would have only straight A's. I am not joking, no B.
Genius. Yeah.
Throughout her,
Yeah.
throughout her senior secondary. Actually, she's been like that from junior secondary, but her senior secondary from
Hmm.
SS1, SS2, SS3, first term, second term, third term, there is no B, no
Hmm.
B. Everything's A, and she did sciences. So when she was preparing for WAEC, our aim was also to get an all A in WAEC, all A's.
Hmm.
And suddenly, one of her guardian in school called me and said, "There's this boy that is distracting my daughter." Hey, I said, "Who is this person now that wants to come and distract this girl?" We have somewhere we are heading to, and I don't understand this kind of distraction. You know, I tried to, I kept asking God to please help me. How I'm going to handle this situation right now. So she knows I have a blood pressure issues. So, and
Yeah.
I know that it also touches her a lot. So one of the days she
Yeah.
came home and I tried to understand what was happening between her and that boy. You know, when I saw that it's not, when I weighed this thing and saw that this one, I need wisdom to be able to break this whole thing. So I allowed her. She went back to school and, things were going as usual. So the guy then called me again and I was like, okay, now I really need to act. So I had, at that period, my blood pressure was not stable because even my boss was giving me headache at work. So, the machine I have would always show red,
Yeah.
green, red, green. So I
Yeah.
had a lot of
Yeah.
reds on that machine. So I
Yeah.
decided to go and see her with that machine in school. I took the blood pressure monitor, went to school. I was like,
African
ah,
mother.
how are you? Da. I was like, hi, that my health, that this thing, I now opened this thing. I was now showing her the historical, this thing,
Yeah.
reading of
Yeah.
the blood pressure. She was, the
Yeah.
red. I was like, in fact, that she can see that I'm just managing my health. And that this boy wants to distract her now, that the thing is going to affect me more. So that please, that I really need her to focus, that this way, that we need to pass it, that that's what will help me to recover. Like,
Oh dear, oh dear.
and this is
Oh
going to hear this one and laugh. She has not heard this story before. She's going to hear this one and laugh. Say, ah, was that why she did what she did? Seriously speaking. Ah, and that was how God so kind, though. That was how that one, God just saved me from that one. And she became focused again. And at least we finished
oh
with seven
dear,
A's. We
oh
we were
dear.
going for nine, but we had seven A's, you know. So, long story short, you know, so I try to carry these children along right from childhood,
Yeah.
trying to talk to them, instill it in them, and pray for them. Ah, the part of prayer is very serious for me.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking good words about them.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking good words about them. No matter how upset you think you are for some childish behavior that they exhibit, still bless them. Whatever you speak is what
Mm-hmm.
happens to those children. So I don't take that lightly at all. So now that they are in school, I will also call
Mm-hmm.
them, ask them, how are you? How did you go to church today? How was it? So hope everything is fine. The other day, my daughter turned 18. I told her, I know certain things might start happening. Please tell me, always talk
Mm-hmm.
to me. Just tell me. So I try to blend being a mom and being their friend, and they also know where to draw the line. That's the good thing about it. So they've understood me so well that they know when this woman is really being a mommy, 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 mommy. Then when it's time to be their friend too, they know,
Yeah.
that part as well. So it's just trying to, and like you said, I'm a very calm person. So I don't allow crisis crash me, actually. So when it looks like it's a lot, what happens to me is that I tend to just withdraw. So I just
Mm-hmm.
move back like a snail into my shell.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens to me. I move into my shell straight. So once I just move in there, I take a deep breath and I look
Yeah.
at the situation from afar, and I'll go like, okay, so what are the alternatives? I what are the alternatives I have? You know,
Yeah.
then before I come out again and try to solve it. So I think it has helped me a whole lot. So that's why it looks like, I'm quite calm. And
Yeah.
even funny enough, just yesterday, my boss said the same thing, my MD. We were talking and he said, Roseline, I'm going to remember you so much because of your smiles. He said, Roseline will always smile. Even when the business is going down, Roseline is smiling. I said, what do you want me to do? Will I kill myself? And, I just have to keep hopes alive. Like for me, it's a way of keeping hope alive. So
Yeah.
those are the way I try to manage. So the way I try to keep these children and try to like get them is just to carry them along. I carry them along a lot. So I try to carry them along, even those ones that are in secondary school now. That I tell
Mm-hmm.
them I'm just a phone call away. So they will call me, Mommy, I want this, Mommy, I need this, Mommy, Then when I go, I also try to talk to them. Then when I listen a lot as well. I listen to them a lot. That part I had to learn. So the especially the last one, when she went to JSS1 and came back to school and came back. Hey, that night we didn't sleep. She was calling everybody's name in the class and telling me everything everybody was doing. So I knew that I had to just listen to her, because in between all those gists, you will see one that you need to address.
Gotcha.
And if you don't address it, it becomes a problem. Like when she mentioned something that was not, you know, that looks more like a harassment. I was like, no,
Mm-hmm.
no. Did you tell the teacher? She said, no, it was her friend
Mm-hmm.
that went to report on her behalf. I said, good, God bless that friend. Because if
Mm-hmm.
not, what me I would have done, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So those kind of things. So when you listen a lot, so I listen a lot to them to understand their issues and try to address it. Know when to scold them, know when to make them your friend. If you're always
Gotcha.
scolding them, they will run away. They will run
Gotcha.
away. When they think about how you're going to shout, now, by the time I should start shouting, they will not tell you.
Yeah. True.
They will not tell
True.
you. So all those little things. So that those are just the little ways I try to maintain that sanity or
Yeah.
morals that kind
Yeah.
of has been instilled from them from childhood. Now that they're away from home.
Yeah. I think my last question is going to be around something you touched briefly on, which is you are now in a management position and you've explained to me how the journey has been. Now, at this executive level, do you think that the job of parenting has reduced? Or do you think that it's just the same level? It's just problems metamorphosing or challenges metamorphosing? Or do you think now, because of the structure and the system you've put in place, because of the values you've instilled in them, it makes it slightly easy? And the reason I'm asking this is even I want to know, you know, I want to know if there is a time that I can say, you know what, I am reaping the benefits of all the trainings, all the talkings, all the scolding I have been given all these years because now I can breathe. Or should I just accept that this is a lifelong journey and I should brace myself up for it? Because I know that some people would want to know, especially those that have kids that are still very young. Is it something that they should anticipate that it would get better, or they should just toughen their skin up to say, you know what, we're in this for the long run.
And this for life.
We're in this for life.
No, it actually metamorphoses. It's not the same. My parenting style now is not the same as it was years ago. And aside the fact that now, so I'm also guarding my own health. You know, then you could
Hmm.
shout, you could scold, you could kick, you could do all those things, and you would still carry your bag and move. Right now, you try to do those things. Maybe it's you they'll carry to the hospital.
I
So
know.
it those things. No, parenting style actually it's metamorphosis. It can't be the same. You can't. It's not possible because even those children are evolving.
Yeah.
They are growing. They are becoming more mature. They are becoming adults, and there is a way you would talk to them. Certain things you would say when they were younger, and you say it as they're adults, and they read it as something else.
Hmm.
And before you know it, they lock up. They're not talking to you. It
Hmm.
becomes a problem. So it actually changes. But yes, parenting is a lifelong thing. You would always parent, always. That's the truth. But the style and the level of what you do definitely changes. These days, I'm a lot more relaxed. Um, if not that, maybe I have to go visit the ones in school, or I have to bring them home, or I have to
Yeah.
take them back to school.
Yeah.
It's not stress for me anymore because it only takes me to video call my daughter who is in Ghana, and I'm like, okay, so how is it going? When she has some challenging assignments, maybe she sends to me and go like, Mommy, can you help? Is there some, do you have ideas for me? Those kind of things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we share ideas, and sometimes she even teaches me some things now.
Hmm.
She looks out for my health.
Yeah.
She sends me some blog sites, that would help my
Hmm.
nutrition, that will help my
Yeah.
exercising, my dieting. You understand? So now it's even
Yeah.
like them taking care of you as well. So
Yeah.
it's more like me talking to my friend at this point and
Yeah.
knowing that this person has really got me. So it actually changes it to get to a point that you guys just start enjoying each other. And that I know firsthand. I know firsthand about you and your father. So I know that's what it is for you and your dad. So right from time from training school, like that, I used to be very like,
Um,
oh wow, this girl is enjoying you. Uh-uh, you know.
I don't stop talking about my dad. I
So
don't stop.
and
Yeah, I
so
understand.
so at
Thank
some
you so
point it
much,
just
Roseline.
changes. Yeah. Thank you too.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I think this again would, because again, I keep saying that people need relatable stories. It's not what they read on blogs, it's people sharing real life experiences. And when you share your experience, you prevent other people from having the scars that you have,
Mm.
but they gain the lessons that you also learned. And that's why I like, you know, this show, 360 Degrees Consciousness, because I want to continue to bring stories and experiences of people who have gone ahead to those that are just coming. We have enough information, we have enough stories to help us navigate life if we follow, the path that those ahead of us have taken.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing your stories. And I had a good laugh. I had a good laugh, especially when you said you you took the readings to your daughter. She's gonna hear this.
I'm really
She's
going to laugh.
gonna
She's really going to laugh. Like, oh, was that a
honestly, no.
plan?
Oh. African mother. We just want the best for them. And we also don't want to lose ourselves in the process. I think that's one thing I also took out from this conversation with you to say.
Yeah.
I want them to grow. But I
Mm-hmm.
want to grow. I also want to grow. I also want
Sure.
to, fulfill and maximize my potentials. Thank you so much, Rosaline. I
Thank you
really
so
enjoy
much
speaking
too.
with you. And I am
Yeah.
hoping to bring you back some other time. And I say this all the time because I know that as you are building more experiences, there is always something to share. And I will love, 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 love to learn a lot from you. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.